every PM, 6 every day, 24 inches, see your body red.
What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video. Around 2003, 50 dropped the ever so classic Get Rich or Die Trying. Thanks to his grind, affiliation with Eminem and ties to Dr. Dre's production, the album became an instant success. As a testament to 50's takeover, over a decade after the album came out, it's still referenced in pop culture and might even be a top 10 rap album of all time. Don't believe me? How many of you guys still play In the Club on your birthday?
Go shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday.
In the Club became a song people of every color could identify with, and without that song, 50's career would feel a bit incomplete. In most of the world's eyes, this was the first introduction to 50 Cent and G-Unit. But G-Unit's real introduction story is way more interesting. Now I won't go into too much detail and talk endlessly about 50 Cent and G-Unit's formation. 50 and Yayo came up together and subsequently recruited Banks and Young Buck, thus initiating them into the unit. 50 then got signed to Eminem and Dr. Dre, and that put a spotlight on him and his entire team. He then dropped Get Rich or Die Trying and followed it up with the group's debut album, Beg for Mercy. Who was Yayo? Who was Banks and Buck? Many questions arose from the hip-hop landscape, and this album answered many of them. Buck was the high-energy southern rapper, 50 was the boss with an impressive backstory, and Lloyd Banks was the laid-back lyricist of the group. G-Unit had a solid gangster reputation, with fans assuming each member had to get shot in order to be included in the group, and also you had to be about 6 feet tall. But I digress. G-Unit was invincible at this point. Plenty of your favorite artists had to push their albums back and even retire from hip-hop due to the group's long reign at the top. Who are these people, you ask? Why did the group fall off? Well, let's talk.
If it ain't the G-Unit, it's the S-Dot, man. S-Dot's taking off, G4's about to land. See how we cross-brand, we boss about it, man. Got the soul of the old Gucci's, if you upset, sue me. If not, sit back and watch me do me. Parking lot pimping, sideline ballers. We don't sweat up the fresh, let the girls do it for us. The watch talk for me, drop talk for he. Brand new S-Dots walk with me. Sorta like you, just scored a bucket. You bow-legged, you frontin', you walking awkwardly. Oh, it's nothing, keep score with me. Give me 3 hot seconds, I break Reebok records.
The truth is allegedly, and I have to say allegedly because some artists have tried to sue me for getting most of their facts right. But the truth is, when 50 came into the game, Jay had no choice but to open the door of his luxurious Maybach vehicle and take a back seat. G-Unit's wave was too enormous. Now here's further proof of this. Jay-Z semi-retired from hip-hop after dropping the Black Album around 2003, right? He claimed he wasn't going to drop studio albums anymore and would mostly do features. Now, is it a coincidence that Jay chose to semi-retire from dropping albums in the same year that 50 dropped Get Rich or Die Trying? I think not. 50 also believes this to be true. After paying close attention to this hip-hop game, I've noticed a trend that occurs every time a group, artist, or label rises above all others. Their music gets played everywhere. They're on all the TV stations and radio stations, talk shows, and have a severe impact on the minds of the youth. Remember the YMCMB wave? Eminem and 50's wave? This was good for them, but not great for other rappers who had no choice but to wait for the wave to be over in order to put out their music.
I remember one time walking in the studio and it was like a small gap and Bleak Beans, everybody was in there, and I was like, man, I'm telling you, man, y'all got a chance right now, just flood it, put out a lot of music because 50 Cent is coming. And you know, 4 months later, In the Club hit and it was over. And it was just like, okay, now everybody got to sit on the sidelines and wait this tidal wave out.
Then when 50 started falling off around 2006, Jay returned with his new album, Kingdom Come.
When Kingdom Come, you ready when Kingdom Come?
Jay had no choice but to wait for 50's wave to pass by because that shady Eminem run had everybody tuning in to find out what Eminem and 50 were up to.
There's a point where Jay walks in the studio and it was just so happened that everybody was in the studio at the same. I think we was working on Blueprint 2. And Jay walked in the studio. He said it before, but I'm telling you how impactful it was. He walked in the studio and he was like, yo, this dude 50, y'all gonna have to deal with him in the next couple months. He said it to the whole crew. You gonna have to deal with him.
What was that like for you since you was there first?
It was a warning. It was like, yo, there's another power coming. Because for me, 50 is like one of the most incredible hook writers.
Right.
And hooks will get you
everywhere. Lord. Everything.
Yo, bro, it was one time me and Bleak was in the studio and I heard a 50 record and I looked at Bleak. This dude said, I know you don't love me. Cause you ain't the same when Jay-Z's around. Well, I said, Bleak, that's our hook. That's our hook. How do we not say that? That is a Bleak hook.
Right.
How do we not say that?
Right.
I'm looking like, yo, this dude is too good.
The last label to have a run like that was probably YMCMB. However, interestingly enough, Jay didn't retire during YMCMB's run. He simply made good music with YMCMB, and that's something he couldn't do with G-Unit because 50 wanted Jay's spot. 50 saw Jay as an equal, whereas Wayne and Drake looked up to Jay. Hence, Jay had no choice but to fall back a bit during 50 and G-Unit's run. Now, how did G-Unit and 50 start falling off? Well, you know the saying, if you cut the head off the snake, the body will die. This time the head is 50 and the rest of G-Unit represents the body of the snake. When 50 fell, so did the whole group. And the fall off happened for a number of reasons. Now, in my perspective, the fall of the group happened because of 3 missteps. Number 1, 50 became complacent as far as rapping goes. After dropping Get Rich or Die Trying and achieving multi-platinum status, it's almost like he became comfortable, and then we got The Massacre, an album full of pop songs. The hunger just wasn't there anymore. The second reason why G-Unit fell was because the game tarnished their reputation. Objectively speaking, the documentary was a better album than The Massacre, mainly due to 50's involvement, but because The Massacre was not as strong as Get Rich or Die Trying, and the documentary was superior to The Massacre, it gave the game enough ammunition to feel like he's superior to 50. In essence, the game was like the Trojan horse that destroyed the army from within. Now, Kanye West is the third reason why G-Unit fell off. Kanye was the final nail in the coffin after 50 announced that he would stop making albums if Kanye West's Graduation sold more than his studio album, and after 50 lost that deal, his credibility as an artist was brought into question because many thought he would stop dropping albums after he promised to stop dropping albums. Then he dropped Terminate on Sight, then he dropped Before I Self-Destruct, the latter of which has some of the worst production in 50's career. So yeah, the 3 things that ended 50's career were complacency, the game, and Kanye West.
What you see right here, you got 50 throwing up the rock. What? This is definitely a big day in hip-hop. It's a monumental day in hip-hop. We gotta know, how are both of y'all feeling right now? It's 11th of September. How are both of y'all feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling good. You know I'm a lead. Of course I'm feeling good. He brought his big brother with him, and his big brother ain't no competition for me.
After Kanye took 50 Cent out, gangsta rap became a less sustainable component of hip-hop, thus making it easier for artists like Wayne, Drake, and even artists like Tekashi 6ix9ine and Lil Pump are benefiting off Kanye's victory over 50 Cent. Now, as the numbers began to go down, it's almost like the members of G-Unit started growing apart. Now, from their inception, the group presented an image that was built upon brotherhood. They were inseparable when they were at their peak. However, time eventually revealed their bond to the public, and to put it bluntly, their formation was simply a smart business move, one initiated because 50 wanted to conquer the entire US market. Buck had the South behind him, Banks, Yayo, and 50 had New York, Eminem had pop culture, Dre had the beats, and the game brought in the West Coast. Back then, when they were making music together, everybody seemed close, right? And then the game happened, and that's when the cracks in the group began to show.
Success or power was one of my greatest accomplishments. then one of my biggest disappointments is the unfulfilled potential of Lloyd Banks and Tony Yayo of G-Unit. Both Power's rise and G-Unit's fall are testaments to how growth is often the key element in any successful journey. I always felt that if I had done a better job teaching Banks and Yayo how to evolve and change their habits, they each would be in better places right now. Instead, they both stayed stuck in their mindset, and as a result, the success they desired has eluded them. In Banks' case, a lot of his failure to grow as an artist is connected to his emotional composition. Banks grew up in the same neighborhood as me, but was never a part of it in the same way. I actually hustled with his father. Banks was more content staying on his porch and watching the world from there. There's nothing wrong with that, but it underscored a particular aspect of his personality. Banks wanted things to come to him, as opposed to going out and getting them for himself. That's not me trying to assassinate his character. The guy has Lazy Lloyd tattooed on his arm. He literally wears his laziness on his sleeve. He's always projected an unhelpful mixture of being both introverted and cocky at the same time. The kind of person most comfortable being a big fish in a small pond.
For starters, even though Banks and 50 came up together, they aren't as close as we thought they were. That is our relationship. Now when you look at Banks, all these other guys, they came in by way of him and they have a different temperament. It's not the same relationship, so I don't necessarily go back to carrying him. Ye is different. Out of all his G-Unit soldiers, Tony Yayo is the most loyal. He's still around 50 to this day, and that's surprising considering Yayo was once tossed headfirst into a bush by 50 at one point, something the game would not forgive. The game was disloyal to 50, Buck was also disloyal. The only one 50 kind of respects is Lloyd Banks. However, he did call the man lazy at one point. Now remember when 50 held Young Buck hostage with a contract and did whatever he could to stall Young Buck's career, even going so far as to remove music videos that Buck had just posted onto YouTube?
We got some topics to discuss. And this one ain't what you people think. I'm trying to figure something out. I need y'all to help me figure this shit out right quick. Wake up all the day, motherfucker done unfollowed and blocked me. Wake up today and a motherfucker try to threaten me with defamation? Not you, nigga! Defamation? You gonna really try to threaten me with defamation? Not you, big bad motherfucker, you. You the big bad boogeyman that your people wanna send over a defamation threat? Nigga, I didn't put that record out in 2012 when I was... Nigga!
Well, as it turns out, 50 faced similar issues with Interscope and Jimmy Iovine. 2014 was the year 50 left Interscope and Shady Aftermath. Initially, the split seemed amicable. However, as time passed, the truth behind it all came to the surface. The issues between 50 and Interscope began to grow around early 2011. At the time, 50 was supposed to release an album called Black Magic, one that Interscope was not putting out, and that's something that made 50 pretty angry. Man, I'm not releasing an album. I can't believe Interscope is this f***ed up right now. I apologize to all my fans. I will work with other artists on their projects, but I will not put out another album. They dropped the ball with me one time too many. Due to his frustration, 50 at one point even threatened to release a Dr. Dre single to the public. I love Dre, but I'm putting his next single, Psycho, out tomorrow at 2 o'clock. You're gonna love it, it's a big song. I just don't think it deserves a great setup since they can't seem to get it right when it comes to me. According to 50, Interscope also leaked one of his singles called I'm On It. This move made 50 feel like he couldn't trust Interscope, and he began holding music back from the label.
I don't even know where the disconnect happened. I know where my actual issues with him were created from, but for him, like we had a communication. We spoke to each other, and he expressed that he didn't like me.
Never stopped liking 50% at whatsoever. He came to my office, and this is what I said. I said, 50, I'm not even sure if I like you, but because he wished to give me a hard time. I said, but I'm gonna give you a great idea. You need to get into television. And he recently has said that day that I said that to him is one of the days that inspired him to do television. But it was meant more as a joke. He said, I said, I don't like you. I said, no. I said, I'm not sure if I even like you, because he's one of those guys that just, drive you nuts. But I dig him, man. We had a lot of success together. When I have a lot of success with somebody, I'm not gonna dislike them.
Now, is it a coincidence when 50 started SMS Audio, a headphone line and also a direct competitor to Dr. Dre's Beats by Dre? This move did not sit well with Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre and caused a lot of tension between the parties involved. I experienced something that was really interesting during that time span. They treated it like I was a direct competitor. It's like, how can you do what you need to do for the music when you feel like I'm your competing company?
We make all Disney products inside theme parks and everything. We do deal with the Lucas Films.
Lucas Films.
Star Wars. So we got the Star Wars edition of SMS Audio. See, I'll check it out. We all over the place with that. Yeah. I'm in 62 countries.
Great. You want to make that clear?
It's not even a competition.
Yeah, it's like
they were so far ahead of me when I came.
Yeah.
That it was cool, but I knew what was gonna happen to the people that came behind Dre. You remember Diddy Beats?
Oh yeah.
Remember Gaga Beats and Justin Bieber Beats? What happened? Okay, I didn't want to be one of those. You see what I'm saying? They got phased out immediately after.
Yeah.
And just the core brand, they went back to the core brand and kept the whole brand cool. But they just used those people to put the cool on it.
Now when 50 left Interscope, he essentially left the machine that catapulted him to success. And after this, his music career began to dwindle tremendously. He did drop an album called Animal Ambition around 2014, and yeah, it was a miss. However, it does contain a very dope song with Jadakiss called Irregular Heartbeat.
Nigga, you pussy, you scared. I can hear your heartbeat.
Now, the last time G-Unit had any type of buzz was when they reunited at Summer Jam around 2015. It was a great moment because before it happened, we all thought that Buck was not G-Unit anymore. And that's because at the time, Buck and 50 were not on good terms. So when Summer Jam happened and Buck was present, a lot of people were like, damn, G-Unit is back. But where's the game? Well, as it turns out, 50's issues with the game were insurmountable, and that's why the game was left out of the G-Unit reunion. Congrats on G-Unit getting back together. That was cool, man. I saw the pictures online and I actually, genuinely, from my heart, I thought it was a cool thing, especially for young Buck, who is a good friend of mine. I just think that anything that keeps him going musically is dope. Now, in my opinion, no game equals no G-Unit reunion. But speaking of missed opportunities, 50 once passed up on a chance to sign Nicki Minaj. We could have signed Nicki Minaj. It was just about time and opportunity. She does represent Southside Jamaica Queens, but she came in with a down south artist because she was managed by Waka's mom, right? Now another big artist they passed on was J. Cole. And that's because they believed J. Cole's style was too similar to Talib Kweli and Mos Def. Lyrical, but those type of rappers were not moving big units back then. Could J. Cole and Nicki have saved G-Unit from falling off? I don't think so. They didn't fit that gangster image that 50 had molded for the label. Also, the truth is G-Unit's time came and went, and if Interscope still believed they had the ability to move units, well, they would still be with Interscope. Now, as mentioned earlier, I see 3 reasons why G-Unit fell off: 50's complacency, the game, and Kanye West. Now, I'm sure there are a host of other reasons, so let me know below.
Let them know
shopping at midnight, you know. That's the best time to come out.
My dog Kid, you know what I'm saying?
Man, get at my dude,
And
man.
we
Let him
stay
know
open.
the stoke.
You know what I'm saying?
Pre-bay.
Freeway lifestyle. We stay open. 24/7. The trap don't close, boy. Don't play with me. Kid, when you in Fayetteville, pull up on me, boy. You know what time we on.
No. Yeah, dig.
My boy,
double back.
appreciate that love,
That's how
G.
heavy the gear is.
Hey, you already know what time it is. My boy Buck done pulled up twice. 2 days.
G-Unit gets about 3 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and their most popular songs on the platform are Popping Them Things, Wanna Get to Know Ya, Smile, Stunt 101, and I'm So Hood. That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened to G-Unit in your opinion? How did it all end in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.
Perfect.